So just quick show of a hand. How many people here are using Docker containers already? All right, fantastic. That's good to know. So you probably have some of the issues I had. So my name is Ray. I'm a developer advocate for the Google Cloud Platform. I do travel around quite a lot to teach people about the Google technology and about Google Cloud Platform as well. And love to hear about your feedback. So if you have any feedback about our technology or how you're using technology today, please reach out to me at Satanism. Now, in 2015, which is last year, November, that was DevOps Belgium. I don't know if anyone been there. DevOps. All right. Anyone saw my talk? That's why you're here. Thank you for coming back. The other 3,499 person didn't come back, so thanks for coming back. And it was actually the biggest debut for me because it's a great conference. It's a big conference. It was also one of the biggest audience, right? It had like 400 people in the room or something like that. And I almost always do live demos. I don't do any slides. I really have a few slides and only have a few here today as well. But I want to show you something. This is what happened was doing the live demo in one of the most important presentation, basically, for my career. And this is what happened. Let me see. All right. Yeah, there we go. So thank you. That's why you came back. So I'm about to do this live presentation. I was live coding everything, and everything was going so well. And let's see here. I'm trying to find that place where I'm trying to run something. Hold on. I had this queued up, and it's not respecting me. Oh, there we go. No. All right. So that's the live coding, and then I'm gonna go scroll forward a little bit. I'm still coding. That was not good. I'm writing a very, very bad application. And then I tried to, there we go. Let me just scroll back just a second or so. There we go. I was about to run this, and what happened was that there was no internet. And there we go. Is that it? So there we go. Unexpected error. Do you see that? Unexpected error. Getting machine URL, and no such host. I was actually trying to run a Docker container at that time, and also I needed to deploy everything onto Kubernetes, which is also remote. All my demos run on the cloud, and I had no internet, and that was bad. And I think I handled it pretty cool. No, I mean, look at me just trying to figure this out, just very, very dumbly trying to figure this out, and it was bad. It was bad. Like it was one of the biggest conference, and I had no internet. Now. That's because I checked everything beforehand. All my internet was there, and then like 400 people walk into the room, and I don't know, like people are watching YouTube videos or something, so it just killed the whole thing. And nobody told me that there was a wire. All right, nobody told me there was a wire, and and my colleague actually came over here. There we go, network unreachable, and just look at my expression, like, huh. I don't go back and watch my own videos. It's the only time I'm doing this just for you all. And my colleague in the audience, Frances Campoy, he's famous for Go, and he was down there. He's like, Ray, don't worry about this. I'm gonna get you a tethered internet connection on his mobile phone. And the first thing I thought about this is like, hold on a second. You probably saw many people who are trying to live demo a Docker container thingy, and it probably usually takes a long time, even on a Wi-Fi or a wire connection. How many people have seen that before? Yeah, that's what I thought. And I'm like, Princess, you want me to do this demo on a tethered mobile phone and still build my containers and pushing it to the cloud and all of that? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And the reason I can actually do it is because I've been preparing for this thing for my entire life, okay? Just in case I don't have a very fast internet. The reason is that I actually moved to New York City about 2.5 years ago. I was in California. I moved to New York. And New York is highly priced, it's expensive, and it's also very, very small. And I was trying to find a place to live as I was moving to New York. I found this really, really cheap place. It looks beautifully on Craigslist. That's where we find places to live in New York. And that's one of the photos that they posted. And except later I found out this is actually a rendered image. This is not real. The sky is not that blue in New York. and this is actually exactly how big the room is. It's about 180 square feet. What I'll translate to here is about 18 square meters. Okay, so it's just about 18 square meters. To put that into perspective, I got a nice diagram. All right, that's the floor plan. The top right corner that's missing there, that's the bathroom. Okay, it's a full-size bathroom. It is about the same size as my living room and my studio, which is just that. What's on the left, that's the hallway. That's where you walk to the bathroom. It's such a waste of space. The thing on the top right, that's in red, that's my TV. That's the first thing I got when I moved into this tiny studio. It's a 50-inch TV. And as you can see, it occupies the entire wall. Okay? And then that's my bed. It's a sofa bed, and I got nothing else. Oh, wait, I have a tiny fridge. It's a mini fridge. It's about this high. It doesn't do anything. So that's where I moved to. But the problem with this place is that, well, it's cheap. It's really cheap. It's the cheapest place I can find for such a size. It's very small. And but they also came with free internet. And at the time, I was like, yeah, that's great. Free internet. I don't have to pay extra for it. So I'm like, if anyone's going to take it, it's going to be me. So it's my TV and sofa and stuff. But there's a problem with the internet. The Wi-Fi is free, but it's very, very slow. Because the Wi-Fi is owned by my landlord, and he lives like 2 floors up. So for me to get to my internet, it actually has to travel a couple of floors. And so here's the good Wi-Fi point, right next to the bathroom. And that's my Wi-Fi point where I sit most of the time. So I have bad internet. And not only that, I travel a lot as well. But just to put that into perspective again, about a 18 square meter place, and we're talking about Docker containers here. We're talking about containers. These are like standard size containers, the real shipping containers. The bottom one is a 20 feet container. You see 2 of them that just sits right on top of it is a 40 feet container. My apartment is about that. Yeah. It's not even the size of a container, okay? And I travel a lot. I travel all over the world. These are just a few places I've been to past year. And so I'm spending my time on the airplane, which has slow internet, at Starbucks and other coffee shops, slow internet, on trains, slow internet, in my home, slow internet. So wherever I go, I have to deal with slow internet. It's 2016. It's really, really sad, but I do not have reliable internet wherever I go. And because of my job, I actually have to deal with all of these Docker containers and images because I do a lot of the work with Docker and Kubernetes and trying to deploy things and trying to containerize everything. Just everything I do, I try to containerize it. And very quickly did I discover, crap, I cannot do this at my house. I cannot do this anywhere. So I needed a solution. I need a solution where I can actually work over. There's got to be internet. If there's no internet, I'm still screwed. But even with a tiny bandwidth, I can still deal with it. What I was using was Docker on Mac, the older version. There's a beta now. If you haven't tried the beta, it's much, much faster. And Docker on Mac, the problem with that, the old version, is that it runs in the VM. And whenever you put your computer to sleep and you turn it back up, sometimes it doesn't work anymore. All right, and you have to, yeah, people are nodding. And sometimes you have to shut it down and restart it, which is absolutely annoying, so I don't want to deal with that. And I also have to upload all these big, big images, like a couple hundred megabytes large. And so I was there thinking about, hey, what if in a coffee shop with slow internet, I was in a coffee shop and thought, hey, what if I just run Docker server in the cloud somewhere so I don't have to deal with this slow bandwidth between me and the rest of the world? I can pull down all the images directly from the cloud to the virtual machine and stuff like that. But I still want to be able to work locally on my laptop because I don't want to use a remote editor that's mostly text-based, right? Because sometimes I need to use the IDE. So as I was sitting down, as I was about to write something, this is what I discovered, Docker Machine. And this is one of the best things I discovered just about almost a year ago. Anybody use Docker Machine already? Yeah, quite a few, yeah. And using it with the machine in the cloud? No, yeah. So that's what I'm doing, actually. So I'm actually using a Docker Machine in the cloud. And if you're able to do that, it's fantastic. So here's just very, very simple command lines. You can create a Docker Machine locally. You can also create it. They have different drivers for different cloud providers. So here is an example of how you can actually create a Docker machine in the cloud. And in this one, I'm using Google Cloud Platform, of course. And it's a pretty straightforward process, and you can actually pick and choose the size of the VM, and also you can make it preemptible. What that means is that it's much, much cheaper if you ever want to try this. But the whole point of this talk is that because I only have slow internet on my side, I had to run this remotely somewhere. And as I was doing it, I learned quite a lot about how to use Docker in an efficient way that doesn't require a lot of bandwidth between me and the Docker server itself. And here's a few things I want to share with you. Yep. So the first thing is that I built these Java applications. This is one of the Word files I'm going to build. Let me see here. I can build a Word file. Here we go. And the Docker file usually does this. It actually copies the jar or the Word file into your base image. But these files can be very large. If I were to look at this app.jar, it's going to be like 20 or 30 megabytes. Now remember, I don't have that much bandwidth. So that's not going to work for me. I can sit there all day and it's still not going to finish. So what I found instead doing is that I need to minimize the data I transfer between me and the server. And to do that, what I can do is to do a Docker unbuild. Okay? Anybody know about Docker unbuild directive? No? So it is great. So what it is going to do is that rather than sending the Word file or the jar file that I need to include in the base image, what I can do is just to send the source code. And if I send the source code, the unbuild instruction itself is going to take the source code, do the compilation for me remotely on the server or wherever you're running Docker daemon, and download everything for me, like all the Maven dependencies. So I don't have to worry about that either. And it's going to build it in the cloud, download everything from the cloud, and it's going to be much, much faster. So here I have an example of a Spring Pet Clinic application. And in this Docker file, rather than talking about the base image and how to copy the files and how to run it, all I do is to do a from Maven unbuild. Okay? And if I were to run this, docker build -t test bar, what this is going to do, it is going to send the context, which is, in this case, maybe a couple megabytes because that's how big the source file is. It's going to send this context up, and then it's going to start the Docker build context in the server, and it's going to go ahead and download everything for me in the server as well. So it's a really efficient way of doing it. The other thing I do a lot is my Spring Boot application that's written in Groovy. Again, I'm using an unbuilt image, and so that when I'm building this, let me do another build here. Again, it's only sending about 7 kilobytes, and it's done. And this is all being done remotely. Okay, it's pretty awesome. But there's one problem, which is that if you want to run this container, if you're trying to do the value mounts, if you use Docker for Mac, you already know it's running a VM. So when you're trying to do a value mount, it's going to mount the directory that's on the VM into your container. It doesn't mount the directory on your local laptop. So I didn't want to deal with that either. So what I did was that you are actually able to run some of the plugins that can share the file system across multiple machines. And I actually wrote a Docker volume plugin myself to do just that. But then later I found that I didn't have to do that. You can run like a Fuse driver. You can like mount a drive in the cloud, and then you can mount it on the local laptop. You can mount it in the remote machine, and then you can share the data. But I want to go even beyond that. I don't even want to deal with the value mount at all. Because I was playing around with this image. It's this thing which is called Deep Dream. Anyone heard about Deep Dream? Google Deep Dream, just one person. It is one of these things that will take an image. Let me find it, Google Deep Dream. It's one of these things that's going to take an image, and it's going to basically reverse the machine learning thingy so you can actually see what the machine is seeing. So given an image like this one, it can turn it into something else. It's very, very dreamy. It's freaking awesome because this is what the machine is seeing at different layers. So it's fantastic. But if I want to do this, I have to first copy the file into my Docker machine, which you can do with Docker machine SCP. Right, you can copy the file there and you can mount it. But I don't want to do that. One of the things that you probably learn about in microservices and also taken from the Unix command line is that you want to be able to chain these commands together. You can actually do that with Docker as well. So for example, given that if I have a image here, I got a small cat here, which I just downloaded. Let's see if that works. There we go, there's a cute cat. Yeah, let's destroy it with a deep dream. So let's see what the machine sees. So what I can do is I can cat this small cat, no pun intended, pipe it into the Docker machine, which via the Docker run command, and then I can actually get the output from standard output. In this case, I don't even have to deal with the file system at all. So I can actually run this, and I don't know how long this is going to run, but when it finishes, it's going to get me the image in my local hard drive as well, which is fantastic. Now, I took it even further, just one more minute, I took it even further. where I'm compiling a lot of stuff with Go from time to time. And let me just open up this one, DevRel OAuth. I compile a lot of it with Go. The thing with Go is that I never have the right tools installed. Okay, I never have the right tools installed on my machine. Sometimes I just don't want to deal with it. And then I wanted to compile it for multiple architectures as well. So rather than having all the tools installed on my own machine, I build my Go applications in a Docker container as well. And then I want to get the output from the container. Again, normally you probably use a volume mount, but rather than doing that, I was actually just outputting it to standard out. But because I'm building multiple architecture, I'm building multiple files, what I found is really, really useful also is to tar up your standard output. So you can actually create multiple files. You can tar them up, and very few people actually do this these days. But you can tar up multiple files. You can stream that tar into your standard out. And then on the other end, you can do your extract with tar again, and now you have all the files that you need. So in the end, I am now able to build everything remotely without having to download a lot of dependencies, whether it's Go or Java or anything else. I try to containerize everything. I do everything on the cloud. So that's all I really wanted to share. And let me see if the cat came out. And, yeah, it's not bad, isn't it? That's what Deep Dream can do for you. OK, so that's all I have to share. So thank you very much for your time.